Hello everyone, Old Man Comic Book Reviews. It's me, Douglas Waltz, back with some comic books. Not a lot. I got a special thing we're going to do today, but let's do the comic books first. We'll start right off with the most important one, Kamen Rider Kuuga, number 2. Let's see. Original, that's pretty small. Original story is Shotaro Ishinomori. Script is Shiki Inoue. Art is Hitatsu Yokoshima. And translation has been done by Jonathan Clement and Motoko Tamamuro. And apparently there were some issues with their translations that they're going to fix going forward in the digital version. This is different than the show. I really like the show. Godai looks completely different. Detective looks fine. Their monsters look better because if you're drawing a monster, it's way better than a guy in a suit. Follows a lot of the same plot line as Kamen Rider Kuuga. They did add another guy who is the absent gunfighter. We'll see how that goes. Apparently, I don't think he's human. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun of getting a different... There's a cover. Way of doing Kamen Rider. I mean, they do a ton of Kamen Rider manga in Japan, but over here, this is the first one I've seen. So, it was good. I like that a lot. Next up, we have issue 3 of Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Cody Ziegler is the writer. Federico Vincentini is the artist. And we're dealing with, apparently, if everyone remembers, there was a lottery for going to the special school that Miles got to go to. And we have a new supervillain who didn't make the cut. Miles is still hanging out with Misty Knight. They're still fighting the Scorpion. Artwork looks great. And we get to find a new villain who's, I think they give the name, it's a really great name, The Rabble. So, that was kind of fun. We'll see more of The Rabble next issue, apparently. That was a good issue. Moon Knight, number 20. It has a special side story at the end called Moon Debt. But before we get to Moon Debt, we have Kill List. Writer is Jed MacKay, and the artist is Alessandro Capuccio. Moon Debt is written by Danny Lore with art by Ray Anthony Height. When last we left Moon Knight, he had the twins that were killing all of his friends, and that hasn't gotten any better. So he's trying to bust across town to save his friends. Most interesting thing is he's calling his vampire assistant, and that's Flower adding her 2 cents. Thank you, Flower. Calls Jake on the phone. The phone. See where my phone is? There you go. And so Mark, this is how crazy Mark is. Mark has to put on his fake Jake Lockley mustache before he can talk like Jake. And then he has to give control back to Mark because he doesn't know how to work the glider suit. So, anyways. Continuing on with Moon Knight trying to save whatever friends are still left. Here's a good issue. I did like the backup story a little more because it's takes place in summer of 1977 when Blade had the cool shades and the big puffy jacket and stuff, and the Moon Knight at that time was a female, and so it gave us a little backstory with that, and Blade had to pay back a favor. So this was a good issue. Speaking of good issues, number 4 of Flesh-Eating Cheerleaders from Outer Space. We have story and script by James Macia. Art is Felipe Abando. We left a couple of the flesh-eating monsters in cheerleader form fighting each other. One of the nasty parasites crawls up this girl's skirt. I'll leave that to your imagination. The girls come on to some football stud and eat him. It's a B movie. It's a low budget, no budget B movie. You get lots of naked, and well, they don't show the naked. It's implied naked. Because it's a comic book. But I know you can have naked in comic books, but not in this one. So this has been a lot of fun. This is number 4. Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty number 9. When last we left, they were getting ready to attack AIM, the Advanced Idea Mechanics Group, because they had taken over part of New York, the island of Manhattan, to be specific. So Cap brings in his friends. The writers are Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. Artist is Carmen Carnero. And it's good. The MODOK thing is what makes it creepy, because you start wondering how much of what we're looking at in the comic book is real. So we'll see how that goes next issue, when it looks like Cap's fighting a very mechanized MODOK. Oh, and Dark Web's over. Let's do Dark Web. So first we had Dark Web Venom, issue number 16. Writer is Al Ewing. The penciler is Brian Hitch. Inkers are Brian Hitch and Andrew Curry. It's Venom's fighting Venoms, and there's a teenage Venom, and there's Venom, and there's a Venom with a chainsaw, and Ms. Marvel shows up, and there is not very much going on as far as the actual Dark Web thing. So, but this was the penultimate issue, which leads us to the final Dark Web finale. I love how they say number 1. It's the only number 1. So we have Zeb Wells as our writer. Artists are Adam Kubert and Francesco Mortarino with Scott Hanna. And they give you a little scorecard here of the good guys, the bad guys, and Madeline Pryor is done. She's telling Chasm that she's done. Hallows Eve and Chasm, on the other hand, are not done. So it's time to go do the final big fight. Chasm is trying to take over the entire island of Manhattan. Don't worry, folks. Wreck Rap is still in it. The best guy in the whole thing is still going at it. It's a big fight scene, followed by some more fight. Wreck Rap being funny. Ms. Marvel and Gold Goblin show up to save the day. Madeline Pryor goes back to her underboob costume. Apparently that's called the Goblin Queen costume. I call it the underboob costume. And the solution to the whole Limbo thing was an interesting solution. We'll see what they do with it in the future. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Go read the book. All in all, as a crossover goes, the only real weak points in this crossover were the Venom issues. The Gold Goblin was good. Ms. Marvel was a little light. Mary Jane and Black Cat was good. And we get Wreck Rap. Hopefully he stays forever and ever and ever and gets his own comic book. So this was a good crossover. Alright, last normal comic book of the bunch. Silent Night, Deadly Night, number 2. Yes, it is based on the old 80s movie with the killer Santa Claus. Written by James Korak and S.A. Czech. Art by Puis Calzada. So Billy's back at it. He's out of the insane asylum. He's super strong. He's killing people. Saying the word punish over and over again. Being very creative with some of his kills. There's one part about the Toy Story I thought that guy died. Unless it's a different guy. They don't make it very clear. So, and then they mentioned Billy, which I thought was interesting. And then they had a little trivia questionnaire in the back. Silent Night Trivia Night. How much do you know about the movie? I got them all right. Just in case you were worried that I would not get them all right. So this is fun. I like how it's going from here. We get another issue. They're still going to keep going. They kind of left it with a cliffhanger. So there you go. See, now this is all the comic books that I bought. And every week I tell you to go read a comic book. I tell you, go to your local library. Go online. So to show you how easy that is, I have a library card. If you do not have a library card, go get one. They're free. There's no reason not to have a library card. And I went to the library this week and got a comic book that I borrowed that I have to give back called Shadow of the Batgirl. That's weird, you know. Libraries, that's how they work. The author is Sarah Kuhn. Nicole Gaux is the illustrator. Nicole, if I said your last name wrong, it's G-O-U-X. Gaux seems the best way. I'm thinking maybe it was like Rue, it would be Goo. And that didn't sound right, so I went the other way with it. There are a number of Batgirls. One of them is the silent one, Cassandra Cain. And this is her origin story. It tells why she became what she did, how she got better when she stopped being a villain and an assassin, how she dealt with her parent that treated her terribly, and how she became a superhero. Read it all in one sitting. It was a really good read, really good comic book. I would recommend this to anyone who likes the Bat comic books marginally, or if you just like interesting stories by itself. If you took out the Batgirl part, it would still be pretty good. This was a great book, and it didn't cost me anything. I had to go to the library. Hopefully you have one close to your house. You could walk to the library, unless you live in, Arctic Michigan. You might not want to, but other than that, see, so I would tell you to go to the library, so I went to the library to show you exactly how easy it is to get good comic books for absolutely nothing, and that's a pretty small stack this week. Sophie, Fiona, we did not see you this weekend. It's February. We'll probably have a sleepover planned in the next couple of weeks. And that's all that I have, folks. As always, I tell you, go read a comic book. We already covered that with the library thing. So I will just see you next week. And like I say, every week, go read a comic book.